Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Arena FPS News, brought to you by your hosts Galanguar and Neeple. This week we'll be discussing Reflex, Wickland, Telos ProjectRIK, Unreal Tournament, CTF maps, and a small Warxon update. So do you want to start off?
Yep, so for Reflex, build 28 is out. It's the latest build of the... It's not an alpha now, is it? It's a beta. I don't know what it is. Yeah. But it's the latest build that's out. They've put tons of changes in this one. Notable changes are that they've implemented a call vote. They've removed 500 megabytes of unused assets, which will apparently make the game easier to run for some less modern GPUs, which might be good for some people that are holding off buying it.
Yep.
They've added some functionality for crosshairs and stuff, and you can upload your own crosshair files, and then there's just a ton of other changes in there.
Yeah, that's the crosshair thing is something that I'm surprised games haven't really done before. I know some games you can do that kind of thing, but it'd be nice. Crosshairs are quite a user specific thing.
Yeah, I don't know if they're keeping it like that, or if it's just because now you can edit it because there's no restrictions.
Yeah, I hope they keep it. I mean,
yeah, it's kind of cool.
I really like games where you can make your HUD exactly what you want it to be.
Yeah, they just have to be careful and make sure you can't edit too many things for cheating reasons.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, as long as you're just moving things around or changing assets such as crosshairs that don't really give you any advantage, that's fine. But if you start putting bright skins into the game and the other player doesn't have it, it's gonna cause issues, especially competitively.
Yeah.
So, do you want to talk about the next bit?
Yeah. So ESL has announced that they're going to be running a Wickland Cup. So this is the first game of the new games that has got itself a cup hosted by a major organisation.
Yeah, ESL's it's been around a long time. It's not like one of these new kind of small startup cups of organisations. ESL's a really big player, aren't they?
Yeah, so they said they have a ESL new games department. So I think they're trying to nurture some of the new FPS games coming out. So maybe more games will get picked up, I'm not sure. But there's a tournament happening soon. The first qualifier is on Monday the 15th of December, which I don't know if you can sign up for that or if it's an invite one. I think you can sign up. But
cool.
We'll put links in the description and stuff.
Yeah, I think it'll do good for these kind of tournament organisers to branch out into new games, because there's always a problem with stagnation of your kind of community that's watching it. And
yeah, I just want to see an FPS game appearing at things like DreamHack and stuff.
Yeah, that isn't Counter-Strike.
Yeah, something that isn't Counter-Strike.
Not there's anything wrong with Counter-Strike, but I mean, it's been around for so long, and it'd be cool to see the old Arena FPS genre getting back into the action.
Yeah, so fingers crossed.
Cool. So next up we've got Telos. It's been renamed to Arms of Telos, and they're looking for some early testers quite soon. So I'm really looking forward to possibly able to get into that. I'm can't wait to play that game. It looks beautiful. The mechanics are so unique, and it just looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah. So he posted a little blog article on his Overpowered Games blog. Basically, I think the general message is that he's finding it hard to balance time between his work life and his video game making life, but he's really going to crack on, and I think we're going to see more updates soon. So things are going to kick off with Telos, or Arms of Telos.
Yeah, and I think getting people involved is actually going to be more helpful in terms of his time spent. Yeah. I know community, you can only do so much bug fixing and alpha testing yourself, and if you've got more eyes on your project, then things are going to get sorted out a lot quicker, usually speaking. But
it's a double-edged sword as well, because you've got your own list of things you want to start implementing, but then you've got all the users saying my game's bugged because of this, or can you add this feature and stuff like that. So
yeah,
maybe it'll just be a select few, maybe just a group of 50 or something.
Yeah. Next up, ProjectRIK, which is just been announced. It's, as far as I'm aware, there's no combat involved. It's purely a kind of trick jumping, or what would you call this genre of games?
Well, I think defrag is a
Yeah,
pretty good
defrag.
name.
And it looks really cool. It's kind of very much strafe jumping and more.
Yeah, there's strafe jumping. He had a gun, like a rail gun, used to shoot targets and things like that. There was crouch sliding, air control. I think there's air control. I'm not
Yeah.
sure. You could like jump off walls and stuff like in Warsaw, so it could be quite similar to Warsaw race mode. But it looks pretty cool, and I think they plan some quite big things for it.
Yeah, and as far as I'm aware, there's never been an actual game, a defrag game, on as a standalone, has there? I mean,
yeah, I think that's the selling point for this, is that it's because lots of people, they might be interested in things like defrag, but they don't want to download Quake and download the defrag mod. But if this is on Steam, because they said it's going to be free as well, I think they said that. So I think a free movement game like defrag on Steam is quite accessible.
And also, it might help the other projects in terms of if someone plays this just because they like movement style games and they really enjoy strafe jumping, then they might end up buying Reflex and the other type, kind of experimenting with arena FPS.
Yeah,
more
they can already do the
specifically.
movement. So.
Yeah, exactly. Do you want to talk about the next bit?
Yeah, so this is quite interesting. In the latest Unreal Tournament 4 video, they announced. Well, they announced it earlier on, but they really showed it off in the latest video. The asymmetrical CTF maps that they're working on.
Yeah.
So they showed one of them, which was really cool. It was like a crashed spaceship, and then one of the teams has to fight their way up the hill, bust into the spaceship, steal the flag, and get back out. And the other team has to, of course, exit the spaceship, go down the hill, and get the flag from the enemy team's castle, which was a pretty cool map. And then to make it balanced, because of course it will be imbalanced if it's an asymmetrical map, they've got a half-time implemented.
Yeah, so you swap round and...
Yeah, so both teams have, I think it was 10 minutes or something on each side of the map.
It kind of reminds me a little bit of... Was it Onslaught or Assault? I can't remember which one now. In the original UT99.
Assault?
I think that's one, yeah. So you have one team try and get an objective.
Yeah,
fight through.
was the one with all those all the nodes you had to link up and stuff.
Yeah, that's one. Yeah, yeah. So, and it's almost a bit like that. I mean, obviously it's still CTF, but it really changes the dynamic of CTF once it's no longer symmetrical.
Yeah, I mean, it adds a little Counter-Strike feel to it.
Yeah, definitely. And I think I've said this a few times now, but like really strong multiplayer game modes is what's gonna really bring people into these games. Like multiplayer games, like team mode multiplayer games are what's really popular now. Dota and Counter-Strike. So.
And I think, well, they couldn't have asymmetrical maps without the halftime.
Yeah. It'd be impossible to balance, I think.
Yeah, and I think without the asymmetrical maps, they wouldn't need the halftime by itself would just be kind of a pointless feature.
Yeah.
So I think they go hand in hand together, which is quite nice. But I also think that in esports events, like if there's a UT tournament at a big event like DreamHack or something, and they've got a halftime in the middle of a CTF game, I think that adds a little bit more suspense and adds a little something to it. Like they'll take the cameras around and look at the teams having their halftime discussion and stuff like that, and make a big deal about the fact that they're changing sides, and the announcers can talk about what that means for the game and stuff.
And in the past 5 years or so, analysis desks have got really popular, especially in League of Legends and Dota, where kind of you have specialists, you have play-by-play announcers actually talk over the games, and then you have analysis have their separate thing that they talk about the games in between each game. And talk about the tactics and the different ways that players are taking advantage of the game's progression. I think this could be an interesting point for like casters and analysis experts to kind of pick apart the strategic points of the different teams. So it's got a positive from that perspective, positive aspects from that perspective as well.
Yeah, as long as the halftime doesn't weigh anything down, then I'm all for it at this point.
Yeah,
it's experimental, so.
I mean, and they can always experiment with times and 30 seconds, 20 seconds, a minute, whatever. Cool. There's been a small Warxon update.
It's not a huge one at all. It's just
No.
they've according to them they've added some graphics, some map changes, new explosion, and some gibs. So this is Alpha Update 2.1 now,
Yeah.
which is still free on their website for you to download. For those of you that don't know, Warzone is kind of similar to Warsaw, Quake, things like that. It's built in the same engine as Warsaw, and it's using similar sort of weapons and stuff. But it's quite an interesting branch off sort of game.
Another one of those games I can't pronounce the name of.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's just positive in the aspect that the developers are still interested in developing the game, and I mean, I could imagine it's quite easy to be put off development when there's so many like big players now that are making arena FPS games. So the fact he's still pushing forward is positive. And
yeah, well, 2 years ago he'd have been the only guy doing it, and now he's definitely the underdog. So
yeah, so I think that pretty much wraps up this week's news.
Yep.
We've got more coming next week, and thanks for watching.